Hello and welcome to the next video for Dad Gets Fit. Week 4? We're going into week 4.
Yeah.
So this is the 4th video. So shall we just start straight away with how this week went and how you're feeling?
Yeah.
And all of that before we get into the exciting psychology of weight loss.
Yeah, so it's been quite a hard week this week. I found it really difficult. This is, although it's the 4th video, start of the 4th week, it's 3 weeks into the diet, and yeah, it's just been really hard. Found it hard going, fed up with just all the watching the way, counting the calories, and I've been on my bike a lot, so that's, I'm getting tired. I'm an old man. So it's been tough.
It's been rubbish as well this week.
It's been on and off really. We've had
suppose.
a couple of nice days, but it's not been easy. Today's not a very nice day. And yet I went on my bike this morning.
You did it,
so,
yeah. I think, like I said, it's easier because you went out like double rides a few times last week and you actually enjoyed it because it was sunny and nice.
Yeah.
Whereas this week it's like, that is like, so biking has pros and cons, obviously, as a form of exercise. So pros is like, you do get to go out and have some time away because you can't do anything other than cycle because it is a consuming activity. However, on a rubbish day, getting wet and cold behind the ears and like...
Yeah, to be honest, the funny thing about it is once you're out, it's not too bad. I actually quite like it. It's the getting out bit. It's like looking out the window thinking, do I really want to go out in this? When you get out, you forget that it's raining because you're hot and sweaty anyway. So, and then you just look forward to a nice bath when you get back. So there's no real excuse, but yeah, it does make getting on the bike
the motivational bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I wonder if we haven't talked about this. Obviously, we don't talk to each other outside of videos. Actually, we just silently walk around the house. We hadn't said about. I know some people say routine's really, really important in keeping on top of things and doing it. So I try and do when I'm not injuring myself. I try and do my workouts in the evening. So around between 5 and 7, I'll do my workout. On the mat in the corner there, in my little corner of shame, and that for me is helpful because it's like your brain gets into that, it's time to do that thing. But obviously it's, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think routine's a good thing to a degree. I think you do get into a routine, then you don't necessarily have to debate with yourself, am I going to do this or not? You just do it, don't you? So I think that helps. I like to go cycling in the evening because that's the time when I might be tempted to, get a bag of crisps out. Yeah,
if you've got something to do.
Exactly. Watch telly and just have a packet of crisps. So it's better if I'm out, and I quite enjoy that. And then by the time I get back, I'm tired. I'll have a bath, and then just a drink is fantastic. A drink of water or tonic water I'm into at the moment, which I really like. And then I'm off to bed. So that's the best. That the way I find.
Yeah, because I think one thing I do realise is if I'm in a habit of every evening having something sweet, it's normally because I've not had plans. Because when I have plans, I kind of forget because I'm busy doing something else.
Yeah.
So it is just, sometimes it can be it's more habitual. And you can create good habits to replace those in other ways.
Yeah, I mean we're edging into the psychology area, aren't we here? Just one thing I just did want to say, because I know there are some people that are kind of doing this journey with me, that are following the channel, and if you are struggling, then I'm struggling with you. So I think it's kind of, that's one of the things that's kind of nice, if you know that it's not dead easy and it's only you that is struggling. I think it's quite normal at this point to find it difficult. So yeah, I'm definitely struggling too, but doesn't mean you give up. So that's the other thing really, is keep going.
Yeah, I think it's easy in the first couple of weeks because it's like making that decision. It's a bit novelty.
Yeah, that's right.
You're having different foods, so it's still interesting, but then it's like, keeping going with it can be difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like you say, you just keep plodding through.
Yes.
And then things become it becomes less something you have to think about over time, and therefore less annoying.
Talking about annoying, just for the viewers, we decided to have the dog with us today because
Cute factor.
everybody likes dogs, don't they? But she does make a lot of mouth noises, so
If you're into ASMR though,
we debated
fantastic.
whether it was worth it, and we've kind of come down on the
Cute.
choice that it is worth it, but we do apologise for any doggy mouth noises. That's the dog, not us.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's been kind of the same type of thing as the previous 2 weeks. I haven't been counting my calories quite as religiously because I'm now kind of knowing what my meals look like. So it's not. I don't think
you're going over at all.
No.
I definitely don't.
Time for the weigh-in.
Weigh-in.
All right. So this is it's start of week 4, but it's the third weigh-in. So it's week 3 as far as the weigh-in's concerned. Let's give it a go. It's been a tough week this week, so I'm not expecting too much. Let's see.
Welcome back from the weigh-in. So tell the people.
Right, so the good news is I've sort of technically lost £2, but I would say as you can see on the shot of the scales, I'm just tiny bit over 14 stone dead. So I don't know. We haven't got a digital pair of scales, so it's probably 14.2 or something like that. So I'm very, very happy with that, but I have had to work for it.
It's been hard.
It's been very hard. Middle of the week I weighed myself again and I'd actually put £2 on, so I had to really get on my bike and really pound the road.
That's kind of the thing you did. You still continue to eat. I just would like to say, to remind everyone that, if you do a little weigh-in and things have changed, don't
stop eating.
Yeah.
I upped the exercise. I did cut down on the evening snacks. So we've mentioned these like better, healthier snacks like the Graze stuff, which are really tasty and they help me with my salt addiction.
Yeah.
But the downside is they're not low in calories really, so you do have to be careful. So I've cut those back when I'm really trying to lose the weight.
Yeah, because it's not like you have to have those
No,
every day, but
they're
it's
really
nice to
just,
have them there.
to satiate that kind of treat need. So I cut back on the treats.
Yeah, cool.
But I've been enjoying a lovely meal. You've cooked quite a bit this week, which has been great.
Yeah,
Mum
we've
cooked
got some
a cottage
footage of that, haven't we, of the food?
Oh yes, let's do a bit of that.
So we'll enjoy some food footage. The enchiladas are really good and they're so low calorie. But we didn't even originally start eating those because they're low calorie.
No.
They're just really, really yummy.
It's really nice.
So we had that, and I can't even remember all the food. It's ridiculous because
I know.
we live in some sort of weird vacuum world now where a week comes really fast but is also like incredibly slow. So I don't know.
I to me the week just flies by. I can't.
But it does. It's really fast. But then you think like, doesn't a week ago when we last sat here feel like really long ago as well?
Don't know. No.
Time's gone weird. I think it's weird now.
Anyhow.
Wibbly wobbly.
Timey-wimey. Right, okay, so let's talk about something else.
So what I think would be interesting is if you could talk to us a bit about the psychology of weight loss, and because I think you said in the first session that the way people think about it is the most important, or something like that.
Yeah, one of the things that came out in that first paper we looked at was the science of weight loss. Psychology kept coming up, didn't it? The way that people think about it.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I thought this week we could talk a little bit about that.
Mm-hmm. The mental side of weight loss.
So I did a bit of research, and there's a paper that talks about something called the theory of planned behaviour. So that's been around quite a long time, and it's applied to lots of things. But ICEK Ajzen, who's the creator of this theory, he actually did some research on weight loss using this theory. That's been used for lots of things, but this was quite interesting, because it was used for weight loss. So do you want me to quickly give you a bit of an overview of what it is?
I think, most people won't know about it.
No.
I don't think. You might have heard of it without reference to what it even is, but I don't think a lot of people will know about it.
In many ways, there's a lot of common sense in there, actually. I don't think there's anything that's going to shock you, but the way that he describes it is if you think about somebody doing something, and this can apply to any behaviour, including eating more or eating less, then the behaviour itself is preceded by what he calls an intention. So if you think about us as, planning to do something, then at some point we have an intention to do something. I have an intention to go out and ride my bike, or I have an intention to stay in and watch telly. Both of these two are behaviours, but before I do the behaviour, I have the intention. So what he was really interested in was what forms that intention. How does that intention come about? And he identified 3 factors. The first one was our beliefs about the behaviour. So do we think, are we motivated to do it because it's in our interests, or we like the behaviour? So, sitting in front of the telly has a lot going for it, I would say.
It's an amazing time.
It's wonderful, and eating a bag of crisps while doing it also has lots going for it. So clearly there's some motivation there to do it, but there's other sorts of motivation as well. So basically any sort of behaviour is preceded by an intention, and part of that intention is what we think is going to be good, if you like. There's also moral elements to that, whether we value it, whether we think it's important, and all of that. So that's the first one. Second one is the social element. So he called it subjective norms, but basically this is what we think other people think, and this is why people do things, because other people have done it. It's this peer pressure, if you like, crowd behaviour, all those sorts of things.
Like I suppose even more present in people that care about what people think. And
so people are different in this regard, but we all have some element of that. So what we tend to do is we look around and think, what's normal? I'll do that. Even people who are quite a bit like me, quite like to do something different, we still are affected by that sort of pressure.
Raised in the environment.
That's right.
You
want what's
people to
normal
like
in this
you
situation.
And
so that sort of norm, social norm, that's the other one. And then the third one is our behavioural beliefs, and this is whether we think we can do it or not.
Your own self-belief.
Exactly. So if somebody said to me, what you should do is you should ride 1,000 miles every week on your bike, I might think that's a great idea. I might think, everybody else is doing this, but I would have a hard time believing I could actually achieve that. So this is about us having our own beliefs about what we can achieve and what we can't.
It's like you could be working with a specialist and have trust and faith in them that they, like a weight loss person or a dietitian or whatever, but if you don't believe that you can do that, then you need to voice that and come up with a plan that is believable to you in order to achieve.
So let's look at those 3 then in relation to weight loss. So the first one is beliefs about the actual behaviour. So I guess what this says is if you want to lose weight, then you need to really see it as important to do so. So I often say in my training courses, when are most goals set? Most goals are set at sort of 5 to 12 midnight on the end of December, on the 31st of December. Resolutions, and most of those don't get achieved because people don't have the kind of will to do it. They've had a few pints and they think they can do anything, but they don't really know why they want to do it. So the first one there is having a really strong reason why we want to do something. So why do I want to lose the weight? Is it important enough to me, or is it just a whim? So I need to find out why it is that I want to lose it, and that has to be strong. That could be a towards or an away from motivator. So I think the last time I lost weight, like I talked about before, it was when I thought I was very ill. So that was a really strong motivator.
So it's away from unhealthiness.
Exactly. All it was, I don't want to feel that excruciating pain anymore, and I don't want to die because I'm too fat. So, I mean, that's obviously a very extreme way of thinking about it, but that was a very powerful away from motivator. Clearly, there's also towards motivators. You can think, how great it will be when I can get into that suit, or when I can
bike this far.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's the first one. So I think that is relevant. Second one is around social norms, and I guess this is all. There's a lot of talk about this around body image and looking at other people and so on and so on. And what was interesting in the research that ICEK Ajzen did about this, he found that was the least relevant. In fact, it was statistically non-significant. The third element then was the beliefs about the behaviour, and that was the most significant. So what they found was that if people had strong behavioural beliefs, in other words, they believed they could do it, that would lead to strong intentions to lose weight, which itself led to increased weight loss. So the people who had stronger beliefs in their own ability to lose the weight lost more weight.
Yeah.
That was much more significant than social norms. And the way they tested that was they got them to think about friends that had asked them to lose weight or told them to lose weight, or what they thought was normal. So they were kind of measuring that social pressure, if you like. But that didn't have much effect. No. What really mattered was their personal beliefs about whether they could do the diet.
I think that does show in the sense of like how many times do your friends, instead of talking to you as well, like did friends talk to each other and say, well, there's no point telling Bob anymore because it's up to Bob at the end of the day.
Yeah.
He's got to come. You can't lead a horse to water. Or you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. All of this. And I think
that's true.
I think that is.
Yeah, there's some truth there.
Like me and Mum in the past have been like maybe concerned or whatever, and then Mum's just like, it doesn't matter what we say because it's got to come from him at the end of the day, because it is we all have agency over our own bodies, and we've got to want to do something to our own bodies at the end of the day.
But I think we should focus on the things that are significant, and that is increasing your levels of self-belief.
Yeah.
And that actually keys into another psychological effect which has been around a long time. And the guy that came up with this is called Bandura. He's a very famous psychologist. And his psychology's, he does a lot in work psychology, so business and organisations, and that the quality, if you like, that comes out over and over again is something called self-efficacy. And it's very difficult to say. Self-efficacy is this, again, it's really self-belief. It's the belief that you are able to affect your environment. So managers who have high levels of self-efficacy believe they can change things and make things better, and they generally do more of that. If you start a new job, if you have strong levels of self-efficacy, you're more likely to get on in that job.
Is it like the real version of manifesting?
What, The Secret and all that sort of... Yeah,
well, when it's like, when someone's like, I manifested my house, like that they found, and then they're like, and then it was the perfect house, and then we moved in. When people are like, I just kept believing we would find the perfect house, but it's like, it's just like the real version of that. So
it's really hard to describe where the kind of sober psychological theory starts and the bullshit ends, because there's an awful lot of bullshit around when it comes to this sort of stuff.
Like there were a Venn diagram.
yeah, there must be somewhere where it intersects. I think what we can say is there's a lot of good evidence that shows that if people are confident about their own agency, then they achieve more. But I think where it all goes a bit awry is when people, believe that anything can be achieved, because of course there are
manifestation.
Yeah, there was this book around, wasn't there, called The Secret, and this was about the power of attraction, and and it's really taking something I think we all know from experience, is that people who are very negative and don't think they can achieve anything generally prove themselves right.
Yeah, because it will come up, like for instance, if it's an interview for a job.
Yeah.
Or weight loss, since that's what we're talking about. If you're manifesting, if you're like, I'm manifesting skinny me, you're probably doing things that will result in skinny you. It's not just because you brained it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But if it helps you,
helps,
then that's fine. And so I don't really want to. After having called it bullshit, I don't want to
actually
to dump on it too much. But it doesn't have any kind of basis, if you like, in mystically controlling the world. What it's doing is this belief is helping you do the things that are going to give you more success. And if that is how it works for you,
I'm going to manifest people giving me money for our arts project. It's happening now.
Yes, good. Keep doing that. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot. There is quite a lot on it, but I think what you do find when you do a search on Google Scholar is that there's a lot of the problem with weight loss and diet in any in any to any degree, whether it's about losing weight or just healthy diet and so on, is that it's so complex. There's so many factors involved, and it's to do with psychology, it's to do with body type, it's to do with genetics, it's to do with work, what job you do, what friends you've got, what exercise you do.
It's there's stuff that they're still discovering now as well.
Oh, we don't know anything about it really.
There was a study that said they don't know why, but they have found correlation with if your mother was overweight while pregnant, you are way more likely to then be overweight yourself. But they don't really know why.
No,
because they're just strictly like the evidence we already have that you wouldn't think has a correlation, but it does.
Well, it could,
even if they've lost weight when you're a child.
Yeah, exactly.
Just being overweight while pregnant seems to have an effect, but we don't know why.
So that could be in your the way that the fetus is developing and the way that nutrition is affecting that baby. So it could be completely biological. It could be genetic factors that correlate with that. So if your mother is overweight, then you're more likely to be overweight because of genetic factors. Or it could be completely behavioural. If your mother's overweight while she's carrying you, then maybe she overfeeds you as a baby. Maybe she has a problem with weight, which her behaviour is observed by you as a child, and so we just don't, as you say, we don't know. These things are very, very complex, and so I think the field is open to lots and lots of different opinions and interpretations, really.
So I know that all sounds quite complicated, and obviously there is still stuff that we are learning, and science is always, it's a very well-funded area, so it's always going to be looked at, and they'll be discovering more things that can help. But just from that study, you've got some really useful tools there, hopefully, to help you. So, surrounding yourself with people that are supporting you on your journey for weight loss and believe in that and encourage it, having belief in yourself and really truly going for that and believing in it and putting in your all for it. And I think having a reason why and having those three things really strongly prop you up to have a good chance, I think. Yeah,
that's right. That's a really decent little model, actually, to and it's a well-researched model, so that it's not pulled out somebody's sleeve.
No.
This is if we could apply that properly to weight loss, you could say the three elements then that you should be thinking about from a psychological point of view are, first of all, being absolutely clear why you want to do it and having a strong reason why you want to do it.
Don't be flaky on it.
That could be an away from motivator, I don't want to get sick, or I'm feeling ill, or I'm worried about this or that or the other. I'm worried about diabetes, I'm worried about heart disease. Or it could be positive, I want to get fit for the wedding, or I want to be able to wear this on my holiday, or whatever.
I want to be able to run around with my children.
Yeah.
You often get that in shows. It's about being able to be active, so on.
And that's where the goal setting comes in. So we know that goal setting does have a part to play. So have a clear goal, why you want to do it, what is it you want to do. So that's the first one. Second one is get some people to support you. So while in the experiment it didn't have huge amounts of significance, it does have a part to play. So have a support network, And the third one was the most important, which was increase your levels of self-belief. Now that's easier said than done, but what I would say to you about that is find things to boost your own self-esteem. So what have you been able to achieve? You know, think about those little successes and give yourself a pat on the back for that, and just keep replicating those.
Because I think, as much as I'm not a super big fan of like WW or
I don't know what WW means.
it's the rebranding of Weight Watchers.
Okay.
They don't call it that anymore.
Right.
After
So what does the WW stand for?
Exactly. Yeah, I know. It's brilliant, isn't it?
Okay.
They won't say, but Weight Watchers. Anyway, it's so, you know, Weight Watchers or going to Slimming World or whatever, because I know some people that does provide those tools, I suppose, is you get a sort of team around you of people trying to achieve the same goal and talking the same language, and you get belief in yourself, because every time you lose some weight, everyone, you know, is really pleased for you, and that helps feed yourself. And that's not maybe our sort of thing, but if that is, then go for that, because that could be a really useful tool.
I'm not saying I would never do that personally. I mean, this is my version of it.
That's what I was going to say. You've created your own way, and if you are doing that with us, because I know a few people have messaged in and said they are, then you're kind of creating, you're partially creating that. So, you know, just keep celebrating in the comments when you achieve, and don't be harsh on yourself if one week you haven't lost or whatever, because, you know, that's okay, and you've got next week.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing that I meant to say about the paper that I was reading was that the other thing that was really relevant was planning. Yeah. So planning your diet. So that could mean lots of different things. It could mean, you know, planning how many calories you're going to have, planning your meals, planning your exercise regime. But having a plan, I think why that helps is because that itself increases levels of confidence that you can do it. So if you see it on paper, you see, right, you know, actually, yeah, I can do that. I can have those meals, and I can do that amount of exercise every day. And if I do that and I do that, then yeah. So I think that's really helpful. Plan.
And that proves what we said last week, because we said we've been doing a lot of meal planning and ordering the food and having stuff in, so we don't pop. I know we can't pop to the shop because of the way the world is, but I don't think we would be doing that even if we could.
We can pop a bit more, can't we?
We can pop a little bit. There is more popping.
More popping.
But I advise against too much popping. Too much popping is bad.
Indeed. Yeah.
But yeah, it does help knowing you're going to have meals, looking forward to those meals, and not being like, I get to eat yogurt today because it's Rachel's yogurt diet. Yum yum. Like, plan a nice way.
Plan a diet that you look at it and you think, yes, I can do that.
Yeah.
And that could mean that you only lose £1 a week. It could mean, I guess, you only lose £1 every fortnight. But if you can do it,
even no matter how slow it is, if that means you can do it, that's so much better than losing loads and then giving up. Do you know what I mean? So like, just create a plan that you believe in, you can believe in long term, and you enjoy it. And it's we always talk about how tasty the meals are, and that's part of the enjoyment. You
can look forward to it. Yeah, so I hope that's been useful. There's loads more about psychology we could talk about. Obviously, it's my sort of area of interest.
We are going to do, like I said, we're doing different sort of formats regularly. So last week we did the cooking one. So if you didn't see that and how to make some tasty fish cakes, then please do watch. But, you know, this week we're talking about the psychology of it. So, I mean, next week we might... I did have an idea for one, so if you're interested,
go on.
And the viewers, I thought about talking about body positivity and where that place is held in relation to losing weight.
So I don't know what that means.
No.
So I'll learn next week.
Yeah, you can learn with us. But yeah, I think that could be interesting. Okay. So I won't go into it too much now, because I want you to come next week.
Do it next week. Yeah.
So body positivity. See if we can find some research on it as well, maybe.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
Thank you very much for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Don't forget, subscribe.
Bye.
Dance. Yeah, we had some feedback that they like the dance.
Oh, did they? Who said that?
Lorette said she liked it.
Oh, yeah.